Hi, this is Jon Murray here from the Canadian Las Vegas Real Estate Connection here in Las Vegas. I have a special treat today. I'm down here in an office in Las Vegas, and I have a speaker and also a very well-known author of many books, knows the real estate very well here in the Las Vegas area. He's actually got his own show on realstatelive.tv, broadcast all over North America, and I have the honor to have him here today on the show live. But before we go to him, we're going to just show you a quick clip of his show, and then we'll bring him back live in the studio in just a moment.
Welcome to Real Estate Live, a real estate show where we discuss and analyze the market and interview exciting guests. Your host is international speaker and author JC Melvin. A brand new show is broadcast every Tuesday and is available for viewing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And now, for this week's show, here's JC.
Hello, I am JC Melvin, and welcome to realstatelive.tv. I am so excited to share what's going on in the Las Vegas market for the first half of 2009. The numbers are out as we begin the second half of the year, but let me tell you what's going on right now in this market. It is incredible. We're actually blowing up, which is kind of exciting since we were not the darlings of the real estate industry for the last year and a half or 2 years.
Hi, welcome back to the show. I have JC live today in the studio, so I'm going to spend some time asking him some questions, the questions you want to hear. We're going to spend some time and find out exactly what's happening in Las Vegas. A couple of things I would like to know, and a lot of people would like to know actually in Canada, and exactly what is happening in Las Vegas right now. What's happening with this market?
Well, I'll tell you, John. First of all, thanks so much for having me on your show.
No problem.
It has been a wild ride here in Las Vegas, as you folks in Canada know. We had a boom market that soared to the top, and because we went way, way, way up, and we're quite honestly one of the fastest growing cities in America, month in and month out, for almost 8 years straight. When the boom came, or the bust I should say came, we've really hit bottom hard, and I think you know that by seeing it in the newspaper and hearing it on TV.
Exactly, for sure. What have you seen happen with the supply and the demand of the houses down here? Like, would you say there's way too many houses, not enough? Where do we see the prices going in the next 6 to 12 months? What do you predict?
Well, I tell you that it's an interesting question that you pose, John, and certainly we have seen the prices drop dramatically. I mean, I think that your folks that you work with are pretty astute investors anyway. So we've seen homes that were selling for $400,000 and $500,000 now that can be bought in our market for $150,000, $160,000. There's some tremendous values here. We're seeing $300,000 properties. Some of those can be bought for as little as $100,000 right now.
So about 30 cents on the dollar or 35 cents on the dollar of what they were.
30 to 45 cents on the dollar is pretty much what we've seen here in the last 8 months or so.
Right. And you've been through several cycles, I'd imagine, right? You've been doing this for a while. So what usually happens when the market hits the bottom, how long does it take to go up, and does it make sense to buy real estate right now? Is this a good time?
Well, interesting. That's a great question, because it's a great time in real estate right now for a buyer.
Right.
We have not seen a time this good for a buyer probably in 15 years in this market. Now, it's a horrible time for some of the sellers in this market, because if they bought during the boom 2004, 5, and 6, they're quite honestly going to be the victims of either a short sale or that property has already been lost to foreclosure. Right now in our market, over 70% of the closings are bank-owned properties.
Are bank-owned, okay. So what happens as far as the foreclosures? How many are there, and how many were there a year ago, and how many do you think there'll be? Do you know this information? You probably have a bit of an idea of where we're going with foreclosures. I'm being told that they're starting to run out, and that's why I see such an excellent opportunity down here. Can you shed some light on that?
Well, I'll share with you that the administration, our new administration here in the States, did put some pressure on the lenders to kind of hold back from flooding the market with the bank-owned properties. However, right now in this market, we've probably got pent up 20 to 40,000 foreclosures that have not come on the market yet. So what the banks are trying to do is they're trying to stop the bottom from falling. And quite honestly, over the last 3 months, and here we are in the fall of '09, in the last 3 months, the prices have kind of hit bottom. We don't know whether it's a false bottom or whether they'll continue to drop a little bit. But right now they've hit bottom. In fact, the condominium market, we've seen it stay stable for a couple of months, and it's actually started to creep up a few $100s.
Okay, great, you can buy a cheap house, but can you find anyone to live in it? What would you say about that?
Well, again, another good question. The apartment vacancy rate in Las Vegas right now is down lower than it has been in probably 20 years. And the reason that the apartment vacancy rate is down is because people would rather live in a single-family residence.
Right.
So for investors, obviously, we always tout that if they can afford to go that way, to buy single families to do it. So although the rents have dropped a little bit, say the house that used to rent for $1,400 2 years ago is renting for $1,150 or $1,200 now.
Right.
The difference is the investors aren't paying $400,000 for it; they're paying $110,000 and $120,000 for the same property.
Exactly. So we have cash flow on those properties, almost no problem. Even if you, I know some of the investors that I've been working with have been bringing down credit line money, so it's even borrowed money from Canada, or they're bringing down cash, and they've got way better returns than just keeping in some of the stocks that we're seeing right now. So it's a great time to buy, and if it goes down lower, is that a big problem if we have positive cash flow? What do you think about that?
But I will tell this with you and share this with your group. The normal cash sales, the normal number of properties or percentage of properties that are sold on a cash basis in this market runs 9 to 10%. And it has run that way for 25 years,
right,
up until 2008. We saw that 9 to 10% move to 22%. Right now in 2009, year to date, cash sales are accounting for 38% of our real estate closings in the resale market.
And who's buying these properties?
Great question. This is the answer. Who's buying those properties? John, it's the investors that have come back to Las Vegas because there's tremendous value here and tremendous return on investment.
Right.
Because the properties are making such good financial sense right now, all of the investors from around, well, not just around the country, but from around the globe are back and buying these properties because they make financial sense.
So they're coming from all over the world.
They're coming from all over the world, John,
right,
because the market is now in Las Vegas.
So really, this is really one of the best times to buy in my lifetime. This is one of the best times of something we've probably, like you said, in the last 15, 20 years that we could take advantage of this type of a downturn in the market.
Right. This is probably one of the best times to buy in the Las Vegas area since the middle 70s. Well, the beauty of Las Vegas is that when we do have a hiccup in our economy,
yeah,
just by virtue of the community and the tourism that we attract, we typically are one of the first communities in America to rebound from a depression or a recession.
Right.
And so there's no reason to believe that will not be true here as well.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's not. I'm not suggesting that I believe it's going to rebound in 2009. I think we're probably looking at living in this market for a while. One of the questions is, when you rebound, is it going to be a V where you hit the bottom and then immediately come back up, or is it going to be more like an L where you live at the bottom for a while? Right. Quite honestly, I think we're going to live at this bottom for a couple of years. The problem in our market, John, is we've got so many tip earners, and because of the economy and what's happened, a lot of them have had their credit devastated at the same time.
Exactly. So they don't qualify is the biggest problem. Yeah.
They don't qualify in cash. Cash is still king in this
right,
market.
Absolutely. We have found that pretty much every offer we put in, we're getting multiple offers. Now, how long has that been happening for? Is that something that just started here in the last few months, or is it happening for the last 3 years? Because it seems to me like that's something fairly new in this market. And when you see multiple offers, it means that there's more buyers than there is sellers. So can you comment on that a little bit?
Sure. We've seen the multiple offer, especially on the REO, the real estate, the bank-owned properties. We saw that start about 7 months ago.
Okay.
And quite honestly, for your investors that are looking at it, what the banks are doing, one of the two strategies that they're employing is they'll actually list a property below its actual value,
right,
to create a bidding war.
Right.
So what's happening is they're getting 5, 10, 15, 20 offers. Again, cash is king. You mentioned that your investors might actually be taking credit lines from Canada and bringing cash down here.
Yeah.
So when the bank looks at the offer, what they want to do is they want to get the property off their books as quickly as possible.
Right.
They're more inclined to look at cash offers than they are to look at financing.
If they see someone come with all cash, they realize, okay, this is a lot easier for them to complete on this house because they're not needing financing in this tough market to get financing.
Absolutely correct. And,
yeah,
and I would just, one of the keys for the cash buyers is bring your proof of funds with you to town.
Right.
Because with the offer, you virtually want to submit your proof of funds.
Right.
And if your offer is competitive with the other offers, even considering any concessions that might be asked for, all cash is always better than waiting for a loan.